Okay, so after the break, we'll continue with the second topic. And I would like to introduce you Linda Björk Pálsdóttir. It's good? Perfect. From Iceland. And Linda and her organization is our long-term partners. And we are really happy about that. We also visited Akureyri, which is a city in the north of the Iceland. And I would never pronounce the name of the organization. My Icelandic is really terrible, but I will try to, improve. But I'm sure that she will tell you more. And Linda is a youth worker for more than 20 years. I mean, wow. And as you know, Iceland is one of the country very famous for really good and quality prevention, especially when it comes to youth and kids. So I'm sure that she will tell you more about that, and I'm really excited. So let's do this. You have microphone there.
Well, thank you. Okay. Yeah, so félag, which is shortening for Félagsmiðstöðvar Akureyrar. Don't understand why you can't say that, Karina, but oh well. No, but that's youth clubs of Akureyri. Just to give you a little bit of a background, Akureyri is in the north of Iceland, and we are a big city in Iceland, even though we're only 19,000 people. We have 7 primary schools and 6 youth clubs, and one what we call youth house, which is for 16 plus, or 16 to 25. And we provide service to approximately 1,700 children in the age of 10 to 16, which is mainly the age group that I'm going to talk about, which I'm working in. And here you see our staff. This is actually photo taken from a great trip to an island in the middle of the ocean. So we are 7 prevention and social advisor. That is my job title. It probably doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell anyone in Iceland anything. I always have to explain what it means. So I am a manager of a youth club, and I am a prevention officer at a primary school, and that's the primary school that my youth club is based in. And that's the same about 6 of my colleagues who are doing exactly the same as I am, but in a different primary school, a different youth club. We also have like 2 what we call specialists in children's social affairs. Yeah, we are big on weird names, but yeah. So they are managing open youth work and clubs for 10 to 12-year-olds, and in the whole city. But they also have 11 part-time employees, which are spread in the youth clubs and for the younger kids. And then we have 3 full-time employees who are working with the 16 plus group in different projects, both in the youth house, and yeah, so we have and also other projects. So a little bit of what we are doing. So we are funded by the municipality of Akureyri, which is great, and it's quite different from what you here in Slovakia are working with. But this is a lot in the Nordic countries. I think in Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, most of the youth clubs are funded by their state or municipality, which of course give us great security. We don't have to rely on application for funds or extra money. We have all the employees are paid employees. We don't have, not that we won't welcome volunteers. Sometimes we have volunteers, but we don't have to depend on it. It's awesome. Okay, we have open youth club, various clubs activity for different age groups. events big and small. We have a studio. And then we also have like elective courses in the primary schools. Two different courses. One is social activity, social studies, and another one is activity club. I don't think I'm talking about this later. So the activity club, it's sure, it's an elective course, but it is a course that the guidance counselors and the teachers, they are trying to, okay, this is a great elective course for you. You don't have a lot of friends, you're not doing anything sorry, outside the schools, so try this out. You need this. So it's not, yeah, even though it's elective, it's not always that way. And then we have this personalized workshop, awful name for that, but we don't have a better. And I will talk more about that later. So, the name of this event was Young People, Threats and Challenges and What to Do About It. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our different groups or clubs that are aimed for that. The first one is for 10 to 30 years old that we call VIP, and it's just very important people. It's a closed group. You cannot like apply to be in it, and it's not advertised. It's just a club that we have, and the kids who are in it are handpicked. It's handpicked by us or the school guidance counselors, teachers, and most of them are actually with an open case with the Child Protective Services. It can't be because they're from a challenging background, maybe siblings are having some problems, the parents, or even the kid themselves. So it's difficult talking with this, I don't know. I do not have COVID though, but some problems in my throat. I'll try to get through this. Okay, yeah, so all the kids have their problems. And the main aim for the group is to keep them active, teach them how to socialize with other kids. That's a big problem for most of them. They don't have friends. If they have friends, there's always some issues. Most of them have never, well, maybe not never, but they don't get the opportunity to experience that most kids in Iceland do, like go horseback riding, travel, because of, just how the family doesn't have the money, or maybe they're just not thinking about it. So, yeah, so in this club, they get opportunity to do all kind of stuff that they otherwise wouldn't. But of course, the main aim is well-being of the kid, and that they have a grown-up there just for them. I don't know, do you want me to finish, or feel free to just, if you have a question, just raise your hand, or I can speak. Okay, then we have another club that's called Rasmus. And that's a lot like the VIP, except for older kids. So they have also, most of them have challenging backgrounds, some kind of social disadvantage. They have started self-harming, or maybe we are afraid that they will, but at least there is some risk behavior, either started, or that we feel like that they might in a few years. So it is a prevention and intervention club, and that's the same. That's how we find the kids. It's not an open club. Nobody knows about it except the kids that are in it, and of course the schools and the Child Protective Services. And it's actually, we were just picking the group just like 2 months ago, and I don't remember, I think we had like 40 names, and we were just like, Okay, so how are we going to put this together? Because, of course, we don't want to have, we only want to have like maximum 15 in the club, each group. Maybe we will have to make another one. But to pick 15 out of 40, everybody is so deserving, and we know that we probably have like 40 more that could benefit from being in this club. So it's it's a hard job. And it's also, you know, when you're putting together a club like this, where you have like everybody has some kind of problem, you have to try to mix and match. No, you can't have everybody are afraid to speak, or you know, you have to try to find so the group is like a good mix, a strong and weak parts. So yeah. Okay, this group is so more important that you would maybe imagine. It is for LGBTQ teenagers. You don't have to be like out to be in the group. You can be just like a supportive friend, or you know, just thinking about something. But the main aim is to increase awareness and visibility, and to provide safe space for LGBT youth to develop and find their place under the umbrella. But what we know and why this is so important, and I imagine it's even more important here in Slovakia than in Iceland, because Iceland is, at least on the surface, quite liberal. There's not, and if you're talking to a grown-up, everybody is accepting and it's okay. But I feel, since I've been in this field for many years, that there's still a lot of stigmatization for the kids. You know, the kids themselves, maybe especially boys. I don't know if I don't have anything except my feelings to back that up. But we have so much more girls who are coming forward with whatever it is that they are thinking than boys. Like in the club now, we have about 30 kids, and there are maybe 2 boys. So it seems to be way easier for girls to come out or to socialize with other LGBTQ youth than for the boys. The boys talk a lot about, well, yeah, it's just like, I don't know if I could call it like a hate speech, but it's almost there. I don't know why there is, but yeah, that's how it is, at least in Iceland. But we have like a lot of research to back up why this is so important. So 1/3 of LGBTQ youth, they feel unsafe at school. And that means that they hear a lot of back talking, and they just don't feel safe at all. The Travel Project, it's a 2020 US survey on youth mental health. This shows that a large portion of queer and transgender individuals struggles with depression and anxiety. And they show us that transgender and non-binary struggle more than queer people. And with 52% of transgender and non-binary youth have experienced suicidal thoughts. And if that is not alarming enough, you know, I don't know what we need. And 34% of queer youth have experienced suicidal thoughts. And to add on that, when they have 48% of the youth LGBT have reported engaging in self-harm for the past 12 months. So it's, you know, and the survey was for, let me see, I don't have that. I think it was from 13 to 24-year-olds. I think I remember that correctly. but 60% of transgender and non-binary have self-harmed in the last 12 months. So, you know, those numbers are just crazy. And I can see it, you know, with my kids in my school, because I've been working on for all these 20 years. So you can really, really see that they're not feeling well. And that's why it's so important to have this club. And we only have, like in the whole of Iceland that I know of, we have 2 clubs like this. There's one in the capital area where, I don't know, I think about 200,000 people live. And of 360,000 in Iceland, and even more, it's probably more than 200,000. I should have those numbers, but sorry. So it's the whole capital area has one club. And they get kids, they're coming, it's only once a week that they're open. And they have kids coming like from small towns like hour away from Reykjavik, just to get there once a week. And then it's us, and we have one. So if you have opportunity to do something like this, please do. It's so important. This is an open club. It's not, you know, we have a Instagram and we advertise in our, you know, social media. We go in the clubs and talk about it. You don't have to sign up or anything. So you just show up if you want to. And so it's not always, you know, the same individuals. We have this, you know, yeah, sure, we have a stable group who's always coming, but every time there's someone new. So I don't know how big of the group will end up to be, but yeah, a lot of them, I guess. Then there's this personalized workshop, and that takes up a lot of time. This is a one-on-one project, and it's team around each student. The students that get into this program, they have not been showing up at school for some reason. Can be so many reasons. So it has to be like, it's not that, we don't have it like in Norway. I know that you have like a really strict rule on not showing up at school. You have to like apply for a vacation and stuff like that. It is that in Iceland in a theory, but not like in practice. Nothing is going to happen if a kid doesn't show up in school for a week here or a week there. Not a lot is going to happen. So if we have someone in this personalized workshop, the individual has been absent for school for a very, very long time, months maybe. And it's the last resort to come here. So we have, in this team, around each student, we have a representative from the school. It can be the teacher, the guidance counselor, some of the directors, it's just differ. There is one from Child Protective Services, and then there's one of us, you know, people like me, prevention and social advisor. Then we have, in the city, we have a project management team for all the teams, which they meet every other week to decide if a certain kid can come in this program. And what we do is we assess the problem and decide what the consequences are. We try to meet the individual where they are at and find their interest and strength and work with that. And as I said before, this is absolutely the last resort. The school has tried everything else that they can to try to get the kid to show up in school. But often the problem is the parents. So that's that's another problem. But the main aim, of course, is to increase well-being and improve school attendance. To improve school attendance, in most cases, is really not the aim. We have gone far from that. There is so much else going on in this kid's life that pretty soon that's not the aim. It's just trying to figure something out so they feel better. And maybe in a year or two, maybe then they can start thinking about going to school. Okay, so this is a hypothetical case. It's not a very complicated case. We have way more complicated cases to deal with. But Thor, he has not been participating in school. He has a disruptive behavior and disrespects the teachers. The school has given him a simpler task, check in, check out. He's not behind in development, but has aggressive behavior at times. He is behind in almost every subject since he has not been taking part in the classroom. Thor's parents are divorced, his dad is not in any contact with him, and his mother is very cooperative with him. There are no rules and no consequences at home. Thor likes music and is at his best when making lyrics and sounds. Okay, so it is a typical case, and sorry for you man in here. This is a very common problem. The parents are divorced, the dad is somewhat absent, maybe he lives in another town. That's so often the problem. I'm not saying that that's far from always the case, but that's really often that's the case. So the kid is not secure at home. Okay, so the project management, they find pairing with one of the prevention and social advisor, and they also recommend for the mom to have a PMT course. PMT, it's I think it stands for like parental training something. I was going to look it up exactly what it's called, because we have this in like half of the schools. It's kind of like a school system. The school system is SMT. Do you know this? I think it's from Canada. From Canada, originally, maybe not, but yeah. But so it's basically built on that you're not supposed to tell, don't do this and no and stuff like that to the kid. You're going to tell them what to do. So you're not. So you're using like explaining the behavior, not like we often try to say, stop doing that, don't do that. That's not the way. You have to say, pick up your coat, hang it up, So that's basically what it's based on. It's very, very simple explanation. Okay. So the next thing is that we are some of our staff is going to meet Thor and the handler from the Child Protective Services, from someone from the school, and together we decide what's the next step. What is the aim? What are we trying to work on with Thor? And what is good about this project is that we are meeting the kids at school time. So we can actually, you have to come. This is not optional. You are going to meet me. So it's not after school, it's the same time as you're supposed to be attending some classes. And it's also easier that way to get the parents to cooperate. And the parents, they do have to sign a contract. They are, I want my kid to be in this program. Wow, do you see this? Okay, so this is like a schedule that we put up. This is really simple. At first, I would say, almost first 5 times at least that when you are meeting a new client, it's just about getting to know each other, establish some trust, try to figure out if you can, find some initial why there's a problem. And we always we break it up with like a youth club fun activity. Depends on what the individual likes. In this case, Thor likes music, so he gets time to play some music and to maybe go to the studio and stuff like that. So it's always like little work, little playtime, just to try to not to have it too heavy. And get them to trust us and like us. We have to buy them, of course. And this is like the assessment page. Wow, it's so small, and I think it is even bigger here. So the first step is student is ready to participate and is cooperative, and he attends at least like 70% of not the school but with us. That's what they're talking about. So you see, we are not even hoping that they will meet us every time, but it varies. The next step, because the main is also to get them active. Because most of the kids, they're not just not going to school, they're not doing anything. They're not participating in any sports. Maybe they don't have any, they have no friends. So they're just basically not doing anything. So that's one of the aim, to get them active. Try to find something that they like. It can be a different club in the youth club, or just whatever. It's also really common that they are not sleeping. They are, they go very late to bed, maybe because they're in the computer, or they just don't feel good. They can't sleep. The whole kind of anxiety, depression, basically their life is just fucked up, if I can say that. And as I said, this is a really simple case, I would say. We have, for example, one case that I have now is a boy. He changed school like in 7th grade. He's in 10th grade now. And from that other school, it's still in Akureyri. There were no information, like, there's nothing to report here about this kid. But really soon, he started to, he was not attending school very well, but they fixed that problem. But now, like since last summer, he just refused to come to school. And that was apparently due to some incident this summer with his girlfriend, and that's why he didn't want to come to school. He don't want to talk about it or anything, but that's the information basically that I got when I started working with him. But really, really soon, it came clear that his problems were so much bigger. So his parents got divorced when he was 4 or 5 years old. His mom is mentally ill, really ill. So he has experienced, all kind of stuff no kid should experience. When his mom went to hospital when he was around 7, I think. Then he was sent to live with his grandmother and his aunt. There was an abusive boyfriend of the aunt in the home. So he kind of went from bad to worse. He doesn't trust any adults. Everybody who has, been in contact with him has failed him in some way. And it just adds on. But that is, I would say, a typical case, what we are dealing with. And and then he started, just like 2 weeks ago, he started acting out. He was like spraying some comments on the school wall, and he's out. He leaves the home in the middle of the night, way more often than anybody knew. So he is just walking, he's not doing anything, just walking the streets, and yeah, so this is the kind of problems that the kids have in the personal workshop. And we also have another one who is, I was thinking a lot about him when you were talking, Thor, because he's also from a broken home. And he has been showing a lot of violence. I don't know, what do you call this, what you put on your knuckles, and I don't know what it's called in English, but yeah, so he has been caught carrying that, carrying knives, and he seems to just every day want to fight someone. It doesn't matter who it is. It's just, yeah, sometimes they plan like a fight. They use social media, and yeah, I'm gonna hit this guy downtown, so come if you want to see. And they tape it, and you know, they are so stupid in a way, those kids, because they show us and say, hey, see, Linda, do you see what we did last night? Okay. Which is maybe great in a way that we know about it. But, you know, of course, awful that they're doing it. But, yeah, so that's the kind of cases that we have. And our aim is trying to work out what's the best for the kids. Trying to get them active in something else than violence, if that's a problem. Try to find the source. Why is this kid so angry? What's going on? But, you know, I don't know if you realize this, but violence and constantly trying to engage in violence, that's a form of self-harm. So there is some bigger issues underneath. But hopefully we can turn this around for this violent kid, and he won't end up in some statistics that Thor is working with. But I imagine that he is like a prototype. Yeah, so early intervention is the key. Definitely, it's the key. Okay, I'm just gonna run over this. This is nothing. This is sure. We have all kind of programs, but this is not aimed for some problematic kids. It can be, of course. They're not excluded, but yeah, this is just normal projects. So this is, yeah, I kind of been talking about my youth club part of my job, but the prevention part is, as I said, we are 7 who form a team, and we are in charge of all the external education in schools in Akureyri. So when we see a problem, whether it's through research or just the feeling or, you know, just something that happens, it's really easy for us to intervene and get some external education inside the school. We put up a program every year with a schedule. Every kid in the town get the same education. So yeah, and it's at school hours. So we are sure that we are getting the most attendance that we can. The education can be so different, from abuse and violence, what to do, communication on and offline, sexual orientation, alcohol and drug abuse, sex education, mental health, you know, vape, drugs, you know, just everything under the sun, basically. We cooperate with schools, child protective services, The school nurse, the school guidance counselors, we are talking together every week. We have those big meetings with them twice a year to see which education they liked, if they want to change something, if something that they feel are missing. So yeah, it's a constant communication about what we need in the schools. This is not how it is done all over Iceland. We are the only city who are having this particular program and doing it that way. For example, in Reykjavik, and which I feel it's bad, so wrong for them, they have, so Reykjavik is basically divided up to sections, similar size as Akureyri. And each section decides how they want to have it, you know. So it's not, all kids are not getting the same education. It depends on often the school. So not even in the same neighborhood, two different schools may be getting totally different external education, which I think is really bad. But hopefully they will see the light. Okay, and as I said, cooperation is very, very important. When I started in 2000, it was a quite different job. Managing a youth club, I was still, then I was also situated inside the school, which is both good and bad. It's good because then I am in really close communication with everybody who's working in the school. I have really easy access to all the kids. But it's bad because we don't have like our own space, except, have like a small room. So we are using the same space as the school. It's usually, the cantina. So everything, when we close the youth club, everything has to go back to school, table, chairs, this boring stuff. I can't leave out, our things. And it's also bad for those kids who don't feel good at school. It can have like a negative effect on them if they want to attend the youth club, because since it's the same space. But of the two, I prefer to be in the school. And probably because I always had a great relationship with all the staff. It has never been any problem in my school. It's not the case always. So cooperation is definitely the key. And, you're all working with the same individuals. It doesn't matter if it is school, youth club, sport, healthcare system, it's always the same individual. So this is, absolutely the key. And that was the last one in this portion. I have another coming later, but now if you want to ask something about this, go ahead.
Thank you for very interesting presentation. You talked about the personal workshops and that the kids, they have to come to the meeting with you. How do you motivate them? What happens if they don't come or they don't want to cooperate? How does that work?
Well, each case is different. Some kids, they show up at a certain place, either our offices or, we meet somewhere. Some kids you just have to pick up. So I have had a lot of cases like that, and you just knock on the door, you go inside and you just wait. You just wait for them. If they're asleep, sure, I will wait for you. Put on some clothes. Maybe they don't even want to leave the house. So it's, we just push and push and push. We also give them food. we give them pizza. We have rewards like, yeah, when you're done with that, we do this. We can, you can choose a restaurant or choose activity. Yeah, so we just really go and meet them where we need to. And very often we have to pick them up. And that's a key to have, that the parents are cooperating. So that's really, really important.
Do you have cases where parents are not cooperating, that they don't want to even sign the contract?
I'm sure we do, but if they don't sign the contract, then the kids is not in the workshop, so it doesn't go that far. So usually the parents, they want the help, but maybe not exactly as is needed, So we have 3 different programs for parents, not just the PMT. The PMT is like the baby version. You just show up in some meetings, group meetings, probably you learn about this, how to communicate with the kid and how to set rules and all kind of stuff. We also have another program. It's called MIT. No, so it's all this look like letters, and that's then you have a person who comes into your home. It stays there for some time. You work with the parent. You work with the kid. You put up some schedule depending on what needs to be done. And that's, it's usually for at least 6 months that they go to that program. And then we also have another program where you get like help. There's a person who comes into your house and just try to teach you how a family life should look like. You have to have food in the fridge, you have to make dinner, lunch, whatever. You have to wash the clothes, just, some basics. So most parents, I would say, they want the help, but it's, it's really, really different where they are at. But I feel like most often in those cases, there are some problem at home. It's not the kid, basically, who is the problem. They are acting out of something else.
Okay, thank you. And last question. Do you keep in touch with the kids after they finish the personal workshop programs? Do you know how they are doing? Or?
Yeah, we try. It's a small community, so if they are living still in town, sure. We follow up behind the curtains, maybe. Some of them, usually this program is only for the primary schools, but some of them we follow up to high school. But you kind of have to distance yourself, Of course, you want to be there for forever because, after this year, some kids you have for like 3 years maybe, they are not fixed, They still are dealing with a lot of problems. But of course, you can't have like 20 kids that you are thinking about in that way. But you follow up. And usually you are like friends on social media and stuff like that. But you try to keep your distance as well.
Hi, I would like to ask how to explain to the kids that are in the closed groups why they are there.
The kids who are in the closed groups, why they are in the groups? Both the younger and the older group. Well, okay, if we start with the VIP group, that started like a project with the Child Protective Services. So for kids who had like an open case, either because of a broken home, or even the kid themselves had shown some kind of behavior that triggered the Child Protective Services. And do you want to know why they're closed, or?
How to explain to them why they are there?
Well, it depends. For the younger kids, I don't really think we explain. We just tell them they are the chosen one. Yeah, basically. But they are, kids aren't stupid. And they just look around and they understand that this is a special group. But it usually is not a problem. Sure, some maybe drop out, they don't want to be there, but most of them, they're just happy to get this opportunity. The older kids, the teenagers, we also kind of lie a little bit. Tell them that, yeah, I chose you out of those 10 kids because I think you deserve it, or, whatever. We explain it to the parents because the older group, the parents don't know either that it exists, And we, so we explain to them why we are doing this and why we think their kid needs to be in it, because it has to be like they have to approve. Because the older group, the aim is to make a Erasmus Plus project that they themselves, they do it, they plan everything, of course we oversee, and they go somewhere as a group, they accomplish something as a group, and see maybe they have a future. Some of them feel like they don't have any, they will never experience something good. Yeah, so I think more often we lie. Sorry if that's not politically correct.
Thank you.
Does it answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I was just curious, what do you say to them, especially the teenagers, because they're older, they know that something's going on.
Yeah. But when they start the group, sure, we lie to them. But when we're beginning the work, because of course through the work we are trying to build up their self-esteem, we're trying to find out why they're not feeling good, then they do understand. Okay, yeah. So we talk about it later, maybe not when we are starting, but when the group is established and we are building some trust, and then they know.
Thank you.
Somebody else?
Hi. My question is maybe a bit weird, but okay, there are closed groups, but they are not secret groups, right? Or because of course now imagining if the surrounding around the children find out that okay, this kid is part of this group, is it some kind of stigma, or is there any possible issues with that, or okay?
It hasn't been. So it hasn't been a problem, but of course I understand where you're going, and that's also why we try to also have someone in the group who is not in that bad situation, So we have also normal kids, if you can say that, but very, very few.
Are there some kids who find out that, okay, there is some group and I would like to join? Do you have cases like this?
It has happened, and especially in the younger group, the VIP, that's usually okay. Most of the kids, they don't have friends outside the group, so if they would fit in the group, it won't disturb the culture or whatever we have established, then sure, they can join. It's a little bit more difficult in the older group because we have this project with just exact number of teenagers, but yeah, we just we think about it if that comes up and see if it's a possibility. So it's not something that's out of the question.
Thanks.
Are we good? Are you ready for the next one? You like tables, graphs, statistics? Okay, so now a little bit to research. I don't know if you've heard about the Icelandic model. It's quite famous in Europe, in our sector. And basically what happened is that drug use of 15 to teenagers in Iceland were just out of, it was just out there. When I was a teenager, for example, and almost, you see 1998, can you read? Can you see that well? So this is drug use from 98 to 2021 in Iceland. And you see the blue line, it's got drunk in the last 30 days. The orange line, smoke cigarettes daily. And the gray line is have used marijuana. And they only started asking about that in 2009. So you can see that we are going down, down, down. And everybody's really happy. It tells a story about the evolution of the teenager drug use. The old model was failing, just to say drugs are bad. I remember we had this national, what do you call it? Yeah, it was this Iceland free of drug year 2000. And it started I think it started when I was, probably started like 10 years before 2000 at least. But that was basically it. They had like a lot of posters. Who said that? Iceland free of drugs 2000. So, and drugs are bad, don't do it. Of course it doesn't work that way for teenagers. You had to do something way different. And that's what we did. So collaboration and a change in mindset, what was needed. The key in the Icelandic model is the collaboration of everyone that is working with kids and teenagers. We're talking about the schools, youth workers, sport and leisures, and especially the parents. It always comes back to the parents. How many have kids in here? No. The parents are so much the key. We need a new mindset, and constructive leisure time is great, what we find out. So if you're not bored, if you're doing something productive in your free time, you're less likely to do something that's bad for you. Common sense, right? So the community basically just agreed that the parents were the key. They were forced, basically, I don't know if I can use that word, but they were forced to spend more time with the kids. It was just everywhere. You're not a parent if you're not spending this amount of time with the kid. You have to spend time with the kid. You have to know where your kid is. You have to know your parents of your kids' friends. And it was just everywhere. It didn't happen overnight. You know, you see, I can say in 1997 is where it all started. Then a group of social scientists and people that work with teenagers, they decided, now we have to do something. And you see it's gradually going down. It took, 10 years, I would say, to go down 12 years even, to go all the way down where we are at now. So it doesn't happen overnight. The government were doing a lot of things as well. They have put on like a national curfew, and we still have that. So all teens under 17, they have a curfew. They have to be like in the winter time, 13 to 16 years old, they have to be inside at 10 o'clock. And the younger ones at 8. In the summertime, it's longer. It's difficult to explain to kids that it is a nighttime, even though the sun is outside in the evenings in Iceland. State funding was increased for organized sport and leisure, and they implemented what we call like a leisure card. And for example, in Akureyri, it's different between municipalities, how much money you get. But in Akureyri, every child in the age 6 to 18 get 270 euros each year that you can only spend on activities like sport. You can go to music school, take some painting lessons, or you can use it in the youth club. And you can't use it anywhere else. And it's not like money that are sent to you or something. You have to go through a web page, and so it's you definitely know that that's how you're spending the money. And we also had this parental agreement that most parents. I've been asking my friends who have kids in different schools in Akureyri, and I think we have to wake up this parental agreement again, because it seems to have fallen through the cracks. But I don't know. I think it maybe last 5 years, it maybe has fallen through the cracks. But up to then, a parent class. Parents of a class, they met at school. So everybody had to come to school, just where their kids' class was, with a teacher or someone from the school. They were talking about this parental agreement, and everybody signed. Maybe not everybody wanted to, but they did, because you didn't want to be I'm the only kid who doesn't have a permission to do that. It's the same with the parents. And in this agreement, it says, for example, that you are going to obtain the curfew. You're going to let parents know if a kid is in your house, You're not going to buy drugs or alcohol or cigarettes or whatever for your kids, all kind of stuff like that. And yeah, for the longest time, everybody was basically obtaining this, and that's one of the main reasons why the Icelandic model worked. But now, I would say maybe the last 2-3 years, we see some sign that we are going a little bit up again. Not a lot, and I feel like those 2 years with COVID, we don't really have like a real numbers, Everything is so weird, so I don't trust the numbers exactly. I want to see what happens in, I don't know, hopefully 22, 23. Hope we won't deal with this anymore, and we can really see what have changed, what the impact has had. Okay. But now we know the solution. The solution is this: parents are the key. We need the kids in some activity, and we need to have some a law agreement that we are all following. We have this every year. We have extensive research. It's done by Rannsóknargreining, this is in Iceland. It's a huge questionnaire. It takes place in all the primary and high schools. We have like 3 different age groups. It's 10 to 12, 13 to 16, and then 16 to 18 in the high schools. It emphasizes on leisure activity, happiness, well-being, and drug use. And it can be used to find correlation between variables. For example, we can prove that with this research that teens who take part in any after-school activities are more likely to do not take part, are more likely to engage in risk behavior. And that's just concrete evidence that we have. But how does it help us? Pretlak, you remember, your youth clubs about Akureyri. We do, and that's also, which is bad. Maybe it would change because the state is changing the agreement that they had with this firm who has been doing this research for many, many years, 30 years or something. Because as it is now, they do this in every school in Iceland, and they get, of course, the results. But if Akureyri, for example, wants to get the research, the report, we have to buy it, so we have to pay extra. So the government pays this firm for the research. If we want exactly the results for our town, we have to buy it. Thankfully, we do. Haven't done it like all the years I've been working, but now for 5 years or something, we have bought these results. And so we get the report every day, and we can it help us confirm the problems that we think are happening, and even show us something that we didn't know. And I can even, we get for like the whole of Akureyri, but I also get for my school, and I get the research for each class. Well, not class, but each age group. So I get results for 8th grade in my school, so I can really see, okay, whoa, and I can follow them. So next year, okay, what happened? What happened between 8th and 9th grade? Why is everybody starting vaping or, whatever? Why is everybody staying out late? So it's extremely helpful in our job and makes it so much easier to intervene if there is some kind of problem. And that's what we have been doing. For example, we saw, can you see this number? So in 2016, oh, it's really small with me too. I think this is like 11% of teenagers, they've tried vaping, and it went up to, I think, 28%, or 26 or 28%, and in 2018. Which is, of course, this is ridiculous. Vape was supposed to help people stop smoking. Yeah, these kids, they never smoked, so why are they vaping? So we intervened. This is a new problem. We added a new prevention education in the schools. We had parent meetings and seminar for the parents to raise awareness. Do you realize that your kid is vaping? Of course, no, not my kid, no. Well, but they were. We had numerous articles and advertises and to focus on this issue. Finally, okay, this is, I don't know how it is in your country, but in Iceland, I feel like I'm like a hamster, in this wheel, running the same circle again and again and again. So when the vape came to the market, there were no law about vapes in Iceland. So it wasn't illegal because it wasn't there before, so nobody had like written a law about it. So you could see it everywhere. In just like in the supermarket, you had like this, I don't know, hundreds of different types of this vape fluid, and there were a law against youngsters buying it and all kind of stuff like that. Finally, they passed a law. I think that was 2018. Then my sector have been crying about this for at least 3 years. You have to do something. Finally, they did. And now, can you guess the problem now? Is in the same field. We stopped the vaping. There's hardly anyone who's vaping anymore. But now we have the nicotine pouches. You have that? Nobody knows? You put it in your lip? It's the same thing. It's like 2 years ago that it came, I think, in the market. We still don't have any law about it. So now every supermarket, every small store have like 100 different types. And it's really, really high in nicotine because there's no law about it. And they have been talking about it, but the law is still not here. So it's really difficult to fight this. But hopefully, when the Congress gets together, they're going to pass this law. And then we just have something else. We're always fighting because those nicotine monsters, they want their money. Okay, so what happened during COVID time? They did like extra research in October 2020. This annual research is usually in February, March, or something like that, but they did an extra one in October because they wanted to figure out if you can see some impact due to COVID. There were some good news. They seemed to be less lonely, the kids. The families were spending more time together. That was all over the media. You have to spend time with your family, be in your bubble, stay at home. They slept more. Better communication with parents, and there was no notable change in drug use. There were also some bad. They were spending more time on social media, of course. For some time they weren't meeting in school, so they have to communicate somehow. Self-belief and self-confidence was going down, and they were a little bit more stressed and changed in mental health. But I would say that it wasn't as bad of an outcome as we maybe feared that it would be, at least in Iceland. But we never experienced like a lockdown, for example, in Iceland. For the most of the time, the schools stayed open, the primary schools. The high school and the universities are closed, but the primary schools, for the most time, they were open. I think it was like 2 weeks or something. And of course, some classes have been absent for school because of quarantine or something like that. But we have been pretty lucky, I think, I can say. Okay, so what's next? Well, the thing with prevention, it never has an end point. There is always something new. We have new parents every day, for example. They have to educate them. And as I said before, we have some sign that we are losing focus. And maybe because we've been hearing about it a lot in the news, that everybody is so fascinated about this Icelandic model. You did so good. No kid is doing bad stuff. It's not true, of course, but So yeah, I think we're due to that and some other factors, we are a little bit losing the focus a little bit, and we have to turn that around. But of course, the key is to continue to study and act fast and get everyone involved. There's actually one thing that I forgot to mention before. We have this, one of our, we have been really in close contact with is in northern part of Iceland. We have this, the police sector is not only Akureyri, it's a little bit bigger, it's the surrounding cities as well. And they finally, again, made this prevention officer position. And she's been working for, I don't know, maybe half a year or something. And it was just like a trial basis to see if this was an important position. And thankfully, we managed to establish that it is. And we are working really, really well together. We are, if there is some kind of problem, and of course we have to follow rules, but sometimes we don't. So sometimes we have like meetings off the grid. Basically, we don't take notes. We just and especially like with those kids that are engaging in violence, and it's really, really important to have a good relationship with the cops. The police is for the last semester, and they started last semester, and they're continuing now. They are visiting the youth clubs, so they just drop by, 2 of them together, talk to the kids, play some pool or ping pong or whatever is going on. And we call it like a social police work. And the aim is both to, just to establish connection between the kids and the police. Because there isn't, I don't know how the feeling is here, about, but we have been hearing, like in the media from, the United States, this is so much going on with the police over there. Not all of it bad, but a lot of bad stuff happening. And it's quite easy because Iceland is like situated between Europe and America. And we've always been a very American country, if you can say it that way. It has always been like even though we are in Europe and all of our, political things is European, and the laws and everything, even though we're not in the EU, we have the same laws. We take a lot from America. And it has been, I think it has had like a negative effect also in Iceland, even though we don't have those cases of bad police, at least very few. The kids, I don't know, sometimes they think they just live in a movie or they don't realize what's real. So this is, just to establish some connection, get familiar and make them realize that the police is not something bad. It's something that you should seek for help, and has been working quite well, I think. I think it's really important. So this is some of the challenges that we are facing now. Like I said before, the nicotine pouches, of course, the social media. I don't know how that's gonna play out, but I'm so glad that I'm not teenager now. Having your life on film basically every day. Oh my God, it's just like I'm really, really glad. Our kids, I think they're like world champions in drinking energy drinks. Really proud of that. No. They're not sleeping enough. I don't know if that, which is weird, living in Iceland where most of the year is quite dark. You should think that will make you sleepy, but they're sleeping way too little. So this is like our challenges. But since we have time, so, how much time? You want me to stop when? 5 minutes? Okay. Okay. We have this new law in Iceland that it was just passed this summer, and we are just starting to hear about it, how they're going to implement it, and it's all about children's well-being. And this is actually because the Minister of Social Affairs, he loves Akureyri. He loves how we do things, how we cooperate throughout the system. You know, the schools, the child protective services, and everybody is working together to the same goal. So he made this law for children's well-being, for everybody to talk together. Everybody who work with the kids, state or municipality, they have to work together. So like in Iceland, the primary schools are run by the municipality, but the high school and university is run by the state. The healthcare system is run by the state. So those systems don't always talk together, you know, because it's a different boss, I guess, or something. But now we are basically forced to do it. And that is mainly to reduce childhood trauma. But as you can see, we have only 40% of children that don't experience trauma in childhood. It tells us that 60% does. Of course, there are different traumas. Most kids experience divorce, which can be really, really traumatic. Then we have emotional abuse, drug use in family, mental health problems, domestic violence, you know, the list goes on. And you see that 17% of children, this is a US survey, and we have no reason to believe that it's any different in Iceland. You know, this is similar to what we have there. You see 17% of children, they experience trauma in their life. And that's the kind of kids that we are working with, you know, in the personalized workshop, in the VIP club, in the Erasmus club. This is kids who have multiple traumas. I can say, I will, and here you can see what happens when you have more than one trauma. Everything gets more difficult. And you see, for example, that one who has 4 or more trauma is 6.2% more likely to have alcohol as a problem in their life. And you see 4 or more traumas, 33.7 times more likely to attempt suicide. So this is a real hardcore data that we have to listen to and work with. We have to intervene as soon as we can, as quickly as we can. And they actually, because you know, this minister, he's perfect. He's so good at his job, and this is actually what he used to convince the other parties to buy into, because if you do it that way, if everybody's working together and you intervene early, you are going to save so much money. You see, in Iceland, in every year, around 4,500 kids are born, in Iceland. We peaked in 2020, COVID, 5,000. But that's approximately what happens. Every year, 2,500 kids experience trauma. Crazy numbers. And here is a little bit about the money, you see. Oh, okay, there's one still in Icelandic. That's the tax. And that's the only thing that, if there is any politician in here, they understand is money. So that's what they understand. Because childhood trauma, it leads to problems in later lives. It leads to disability, early death, all kind of problems, which of course, less tax, cost more. It costs more to have people with disabilities and problems. It's easy, isn't it? I don't have the number in the euros, but they save in what they estimate that they will save in 10 years. The first 5 years is going to cost more money to implement this law because they're going to cost more staff and all kind of stuff like that. But after 10 years, they estimate that they're going to save 100 milliards of Icelandic kroners, which is a shit. I can't even. So okay, one euro is 150 Icelandic. So who is good in in math? It's a bunch of money, I'm telling you. And we are only 360,000. So imagine what it will do for you guys with, I don't know how many millions you live here. Way more. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay, so questions, comments?
Statistics, you gotta love it.
We are depressed. Okay, if not, you can ask Linda maybe during the break, or tell her, your experiences. Let's have a break a little bit, and then we will continue with Esther. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.